Fraud Flix presents 1MDB. Investigators say more than $4.5 billion vanished from a fund built for Malaysia and resurfaced as mansions, masterpieces, movies, and a super yacht. Public money. Private fantasy. In 2009, Malaysia transformed a regional fund into 1MDB, a state-owned engine for foreign investment and national development. Prime Minister and Finance Minister Najib Razak held sweeping authority. Jho Low held no official role, but enormous influence. In September 2009, 1MDB committed $1 billion to a Petro-Saudi joint venture. Its board expected the entire sum to reach the partnership. Prosecutors say only $300 million did. $700 million went instead to Good Star, controlled by Jho Low. In 2011, 1MDB sent another $330 million, supposedly to finance its Petro-Saudi venture. 4 transfers all reached Good Star. Officials called it a Petro-Saudi subsidiary. Bank records showed Jho Low controlled Good Star and alone could sign its account. In 2012, Goldman Sachs arranged and underwrote 2 bond issues raising $3.5 billion for 1MDB. Almost immediately, about $1.37 billion, over 40% of the net proceeds, went to Abar BVI, a lookalike company with no genuine link to the real Abu Dhabi group. In March 2013, Goldman arranged a third bond offering, raising $3 billion for a Malaysia-Abu Dhabi venture. Prosecutors say more than $1.26 billion was diverted through offshore accounts. Within days, $681 million reached Najib Razak's personal account. In March 2013, Goldman arranged a third bond offering, raising $3 billion for a Malaysia-Abu Dhabi venture. Prosecutors say more than $1.26 billion was diverted through offshore accounts. Within days, $681 million reached Najib Razak's personal account. In 2013, 1MDB raised $3 billion for a development venture. Prosecutors say more than $1.2 billion was diverted. Within days, $681 million arrived in Prime Minister Najib Razak's personal bank account. The missing money did not remain hidden in bank accounts. Prosecutors traced it into luxury homes, fine art, jewelry, a Hollywood production, and a 300-foot super yacht. Billions intended to develop Malaysia had become the private shopping budget of an international elite. The stolen funds did not remain hidden. Prosecutors traced them into luxury property, fine art, jewelry, film production, and a 300-foot super yacht. Money intended for Malaysia's development had become a private collection of extravagant assets. More than $100 million traceable to stolen 1MDB funds helped finance The Wolf of Wall Street, a film about fraud, excess, and hidden money. Malaysia received no return. In this case, life did not merely imitate art, it financed it. More than $100 million linked to stolen 1MDB funds helped finance The Wolf of Wall Street, a film about fraud, excess, and concealed money. Malaysia received no return. Reality had not merely inspired the story, it had paid for the camera.
In 2016, American prosecutors launched what became their largest kleptocracy asset recovery case. They sought more than $1 billion in property allegedly bought with stolen 1MDB money. The mansions, paintings, film profits, and yacht were no longer trophies. They were evidence.
In May 2018, Malaysian voters removed Najib Razak's coalition from power, ending 6 decades of uninterrupted rule. The 1MDB investigation reopened. Police raided properties linked to Najib and seized vast quantities of cash, jewelry, watches, and luxury handbags. In July 2020, Najib Razak was convicted on 7 charges involving 42 million ringgit taken from SAC International, a former 1MDB subsidiary. Malaysia's highest court upheld the verdict in 2022. The former Prime Minister began a 12-year prison sentence. Then came the main 1MDB verdict. In December 2025, Najib was convicted of 4 counts of abuse of power and 21 counts of money laundering involving billions of ringgit. He received another 15 years in prison and a record fine. He has appealed. Goldman Sachs had arranged 3 bond deals raising $6.5 billion for 1MDB and earned unusually high fees. In 2020, its Malaysian subsidiary pleaded guilty to a foreign bribery charge. The bank agreed to pay more than $2.9 billion in the global criminal resolution. Goldman Sachs arranged 3 bond issues for 1MDB and collected exceptionally high fees. In 2020, its Malaysian subsidiary pleaded guilty to a foreign bribery charge. The bank's global criminal settlement exceeded $2.9 billion. The facilitators, eventually, also received a bill. Malaysia has recovered more than 31 billion ringgit in assets and settlements linked to 1MDB. Yet enormous obligations remain, and the man accused of orchestrating the scheme, Jho Low, is still a fugitive. The assets returned. The alleged mastermind did not. 1MDB was established to support Malaysia's economic development. Instead, failures of oversight and a network of international facilitators allowed billions to be diverted. Assets have been recovered and convictions secured, but substantial obligations remain. Ultimately, the financial consequences are carried by the public. The 1MDB investigation produced convictions, international settlements, and the recovery of substantial assets, yet financial obligations connected with the fund continued after its closure. The case remains an important international study of governance, financial controls, and institutional accountability. 1MDB was not emptied by one man alone. It required concentrated power, compliant intermediaries, and controls that failed when they mattered. The lasting lesson is simple: public money needs independent oversight, and every golden key must have a guardian.